This is a public service announcement over photovoltaic solar energy presented by Group 4, Dallas Ashford, Alex Swanson, and Alfred Meyer, attending the University of Illinois Energy and the Environment course. What is photovoltaic solar energy? Photovoltaic devices generate electricity directly from sunlight via an electronic process that occurs naturally in certain types of material called semiconductors. Electrons in these materials are freed by solar energy and can be induced to travel through an electrical circuit, powering electrical devices or sending electricity to the grid. PV devices can be used to power anything from small electronics such as calculators and road signs up to homes and large commercial businesses. Below is a diagram of a typical crystalline silicone solar panel. As you can see, there's an anti-reflective coating on the top. There are conductors that generate the heat that shoots the electrons back down through holes. There's an N layer or a negative conductor, which helps trap the heat. There is a crystalline semiconductor, which holds the heat where the electrons are passing through. There's a P layer, which is a positive conductor, which will absorb all the positive electrons and bounce away all the negative electrons. There's a hole for the positive electrons to escape through, and there's a reflective layer on the bottom which will bounce light back out. Photovoltaic effect, or PV effect, was observed as early as 1839 by Alexander Edmund Berquois. In 1954, Bell Labs in the US introduced the first solar PV device that produced a usable amount of electricity. By 1958, solar cells were being used in a variety of small-scale scientific and commercial applications. Here are some of the benefits of photovoltaic solar power. Solar photovoltaic panels are green power technology systems that exploit sunlight into renewable solar energy, facilitating towards a sustainable energy mix. These panels strictly use sunlight to produce its energy. By using this, we help reduce CO2 emissions into the atmosphere because we'll not be getting power from coal burning plants. And PV panels can last up to 25 years or more, some with a maximum efficiency loss of only 18%, even after 20 years of operation. These panels are built to last, and as long as you have them, usually the company that installs them gives you a lifetime guarantee. PV panels operate autonomous without any noise generation, as they do not incorporate any moving mechanical parts. The only time these need to move is very slightly in order to capture the sun as it's going down or it's coming up, in order to maximize the UV rays that are getting past the anti-reflective layer. With respect to operating costs and maintenance costs, PV panels, unlike other renewable energy technologies, require minimum operating or maintenance costs. Usually an owner of PV panels will spend money on a manufacturer cleaner so that they can clean the front of the anti-glare layer so that more UV rays can get in there and they can maximize their wattage. Usually these are placed on top of rooftops of existing buildings. A majority of these are located in the Southwest, and you will see in the Southwest that there's a lot of homes that have these on their rooftops. One, because it maximizes the UV rays that are going to be accessing the panels, and two, it won't be covering a large portion of their yard. In the recent past, prices of PV systems have witnessed a drastic decrease. And this is because many governments are offering incentives for people to go green and install these panels on their homes. And their high popularity has driven the cost down on one hand, and also advancements in the industrial maturity of PV technologies, on the other hand, has made it more cost effective for users to buy into this green technology. Also, you can combine these with other sources of green energy, such as wind turbines, hydro turbines, and collectively, these could potentially eliminate the use of coal burning power plants and nuclear power plants that are generating a lot of waste and polluting the environment. Some of the disadvantages of using PV panels are listed below. Compared to other renewable energy sources such as solar thermal, PV systems have a relatively low efficiency level ranging between 12 and 20%. This is because their batteries don't hold the energy for long periods of time. You can't have a charge that lasts for a year. These systems are continuously recharging themselves depending on what size battery you buy for the system to store the energy. Um, so during the day, the PV system is constantly gathering sunlight and trying to store the energy. Another disadvantage of the PV panels is that it produces direct electric current, which must be converted to an alternating current before it can be used for consumption. This is going to require another system that's going to go onto your PV panel system, which will convert that current into an alternating current so you can use it to plug in your devices and power your electricity of your home. Uh, PV panels' main disadvantage is that it delivers only in direct sunlight and it cannot store excess amount of produced energy for later. Like I stated above with the efficiency level, it also depends on what your battery size is, but the main power source for this is sunlight. So if you're not producing in sunlight and your batteries are starting to get drained, you might have to switch to another form of power until sunlight comes out. Here are some more disadvantages associated with the PV solar panels. They can't be produced in the dark. They have very low efficiency in the shade, so you got to make sure when you're installing these that there's no trees covering where these panels are. Like I've stated this whole time, they need to have direct sunlight. The tilt and direction of the solar panel needs to be optimized. What that means is whichever way the sun's going to be shining and the more UV rays you can collect in your solar panel, the more energy you're going to be able to use. There is a high upfront cost and it is a long return on your investment. With the government grants going on and with the popularity taking off, the cost is actually going down, but it's still a pretty costly program to implement if you want to get it on your home. Um, but you will not be experiencing bills from city power or anything like that. That's where the return on your investment will come because you're going to be self-sustaining at this point. Um, they do require large areas for mass energy production, as this picture shows. If you're trying to power an entire city, you're going to use a lot of land to do so. If you're trying to power just your home, these panels will go up on your roof and they will charge your home. And that's why implementing them with other green technologies such as hydro turbines, wind turbines, uh, it will ultimately burn out what a coal plant would. In closing, photovoltaic solar power, if implemented, could have the potential to solve the world's energy crisis in a clean way. Along with reducing CO2 emissions, photovoltaic power would ease the grip of big power plants on the average household. This would help adjust the market so they can't use price fixing. They can't raise the price on you. The city won't be able to dip into these large power plants in order to get government funding for projects that aren't even going to affect you. If you're self-sustaining, you don't pay anybody the money. All you're doing is the upfront cost to implement it. Government funding in order to help implement these panels helps with the initial cost. Like I stated before, the government is getting involved in order to generate a clean, green environment. And with this government funding and government incentives, we're going to see a lot more people implementing these programs all around the world. This technology does require a large surface area, but since they can be set on rooftops, they will hardly be noticed. If you, like I said before, if you're trying to power a whole city, yes, that's going to take up a lot of land. There's going to be a lot of land used in order to set up these solar panels. But if you're trying to be self-sustaining and you put it on your home, it's more than sufficient enough to power your home, and you're essentially creating your own power. Photovoltaic panels are a huge step forward in reducing the world's pollution. This technology, combined with other green technologies, can potentially release the world's dependency on fossil fuels. With this and more advancements in green technology, we are inching closer and closer to getting away from the carbon emissions, the CO2 emissions, where we can use the energy that is already given to us naturally through sunlight, through water movement, through wind turbines, that we will eventually see a change where we're not using as much fossil fuels.